So guys, continuing with what you guys read through in terms of the outline. So I'm going to go back again to looking at the subject outline. So we have two assignments, guys. We have the quiz. When is the quiz, guys?
Week 2.
It is going to be in week 2. And what are we covering?
Week 2.
11.
Okay, week 2 and then week 11. What about assignment 2? What do we need to do there?
Group project
We do project. What sort of project? What is it about?
regarding the basic concept of the
PM book
project
and
management.
Okay, so we need to apply the PIM book. Yeah, approaches. That's correct. What's that?
NSM.
I didn't get that. Could you please repeat? And agile, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, agile is going to be in another assignment, but for the next assignment, what is the assignment about? Yes, I know it's PIM book, but what exactly is it about?
Like making a project for the IT company.
Making a project for the IT company. What is the project about? Kevin, what is it?
It's about the PIMBOK case study. That's what I get from the outline.
It is a case study, but there is a system, and a system is supposed to do
About
this.
the COVID-19 tracking vaccination. Yeah.
We need to do tracking. There are particular information about that tracking. There's a particular budget. There's a particular timelines.
And scope as well.
There are particular things to do and to go and deliver. And there are specific outcomes we want to deliver. Now, you need to read your assignment very clearly, and then you need to go and create those documents: charter, scope, stakeholder register, risk treatment log, work break and structure, schedule, budget, and the contribution of various team members, and an overall project plan. What I would want you to know from the beginning is the only way you are going to get well on that assignment is by understanding the requirements and then creating a very detailed work break and structure. What a work break and structure is, it's a list of all of these requirements, or in other words, it is a list of all of these tasks that needs to go and be completed in order for us to be able to go and deliver those outcomes to the actual client. When I talk about detailed, tasks, you need to go like 60, 70, 80, 100 tasks. You need to go into so much details to really think about every task that needs to go and be considered to get the job done. Now, when you talk about the tasks, you need to think about the stages of project management. Initiation stage, a planning stage, implementing stage, monitoring, controlling. All of these things you need to bear in mind. You need to think about the 10 knowledge management areas we basically spoke about, but it's really about ensuring that you do very detailed a list of all the tasks that are going to be required, because when you identify all of those tasks, only then you can add people to those tasks, which will give you a schedule when you assign how long people are going to be working on a task. And when you assign people and resources to the task, you know how much people get paid. And because of that, you'll be able to go and create a budget for your assignment. So it's about really thinking about the very, very important components. These 3 items are essential to be able to go really pass your assignment. Now you're going to say at the moment, I don't know what a charter is, what a scope statement, what a work break and structure. I don't know any of these things. And my answer to you is 100% sure you don't know about them just yet. But that is why we are going to be covering those tasks every week. And my advice to you is, as soon as we cover one aspect of these things, you straight away start working about it with your group. You don't delay it, because you need to apply your learning on a weekly basis to be able to ensure you're going to get the best learning and the best mark. Not simply the best mark, but the best learning here. And when you're going to go and start working in industry, that's very, very important for you to go and really do. So please make sure you read that. Now you look for the PMBOK assignment, it is 4 months and $1.2 million. But if you go and look for your assignment 3, it is only $1 million and it is under 3 months. So you see that the sort of constraints will change, but the scope remains the same as a previous assignment. But the way you're going to do assignment 3 is simply agile project management, which I will explain to you into a lot of details, how you need to go and really do that in real life. So spend the time to really understand all of these requirements and understanding how you're going to go and actually implement things accordingly. This is in summary what I want you to know for now. We're going to go and be doing further information about a lot of these things as we start explaining those concepts in more details. But for now, do you guys have any questions about any of those assignments?
No, sir.
I actually have a couple of questions.
Tell me, my friend. Go.
For assessment 2, because it's a group project and it's on due by week 6, are we able to like what you said before, like we're gonna try to do it like as early as possible, step by step, one by one. And as soon as we do that, are we able to check with you, like, are we doing the right stuff, like in the right way to do it?
Yeah, as you are moving along on a weekly basis, your tutors will usually go and give you feedback for your work. You're going to usually be, so if I was to go and actually show you, just give me 1 second. I'm going to go and show you something. If I was to go and show you this slide here, you're going to go and find that there are usually sections. They're not listed just yet, but let me just move to my other normal role. Maybe they're there. Okay, so I'm going to just show you something. It's not live yet, but I'll just show it to you so that you will understand how we work. What you will notice is we are actually expecting you to submit your work on a regular basis. So for example, these dates are not right, so don't worry about them because we haven't published the information yet, but you will be submitting this part, which is a charter first here. Then you'll be submitting a scope statement. Then you will be submitting the risk and work breakdown structure. Then you will submit your final report. And every time you submit this work, we'll try to go and give you some feedback so that you will know what you need to do to be able to improve your assignment. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's very clear. Thanks.
No problem, my friend. Thank you for the question. I know it's more related to next week, but I just wanted to answer it for you so that you know and you clear that we are here to support you throughout the session.
All good. Yeah.
That's your first question. You said you have 2 questions.
Yeah, and one more, like, because it's a group project, are we gonna like submit it one by one individually, or like?
No, you will have one group leader and only the group leader could submit the work, because if more than one person submit the work, it's going to trigger similarity and plagiarism investigation. So only the group leader will submit work to turn it in.
Okay, that makes it clear then. Thanks.
Thank you very much, my friend. Any other questions, anybody, my friends?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Isn't this assignment too stressful?
Too stressful?
Like, it's 4 months project and you expect a student who doesn't know thing about it to complete it within few weeks?
Yeah, well, you're not completing it within 2 weeks. You're actually completing it over a 5 weeks period.
But still, it's 4 months project.
Trust me, it is very, very manageable. All what you need to do to be able to do well is come to the class every week. Every lecture, I'll be explaining a concept. We'll be applying it in the tutorial, and then you'll go and apply it using the examples, because we're going to give you so many examples to make it clear for you how you need to do it. And then you apply it. And then we even give you feedback to even make it better. So you're having support throughout, and trust me, it is very doable. Don't stress. It is something that you could easily do with your group.
Thank you, sir.
No worries. If you find yourself stressed, either if you're in my tutorial or in other tutorials, contact your tutor and we are there to help you. But if you feel yourself stressed and you feel you don't understand something, I am immediately there for you. You just need to speak to me and I'll help you and guide you. Okay?
Thank you, sir. I trust you.
No worries. Well, I want you to know that we will never set you up for failure. Never, ever. We're always going to be there to support you, and we want you to do well. And that's why, from experience, not many students fail the subject if they follow our instructions and they do what they need to do on a weekly basis. Alrighty, mate?
Yes, sir.
Start speaking to me in the next few weeks and tell me whether you're feeling more comfortable or not.
Definitely, sir.
Anybody else, guys, have any questions?
So far, all clear.
What's that? Sorry, my friend.
All clear, sir.
All right, thank you very much. Now I'm going to move to the next task of tonight. And the next task of tonight is very important because it's about really forming groups of 3 to 4 team members. You will need to be working with each other as a group. You will need to go and making sure you share with each other your student number, your name, your email, and your mobile, and indicate who the group leader is for any particular group. Now we need to know those leaders and we need to set up those groups early, because we want to make sure you have the ability to start working on the assignment starting next week to minimize any potential stress on you. So we will be setting up the groups today. And then after that, we will ask you to set up a group leader. And after that, we will ask you to create a WhatsApp group so that you guys will start communicating for this Pinbook assignment together immediately. For your Agile assignment, you need to be communicating using a different tool. We'll talk about this at a later stage when the time is right. But for now, we need to go and set up groups for you guys. Now, there's groups. This is the sort of information that we need to go and have per group. Student ID, name, personal email, COI email, and phone number. If you have people you would like to go and work with and you're not in my tutorial, you can go and share those details with your tutor, and the tutor will be able to go and assign you to that particular group. And that's going to be the same group you're going to be working with for both the first assignment and the second assignment. Now for this tutorial, I'm going to go and pause the recording to go and create the groups now. For other tutorials, make sure you're also going to go, and if you don't have a group, you're going to go and contact your tutor. All right, guys, now that we've already got the group formed, if you are another tutorial, please make sure you, and you don't have a group, you email your tutor to get a group, or you select some people to be in your group, and then you can email the details to your tutor. And what I would like to go and say is make sure you create a group to start communicating. Only the group leader is allowed to go and submit the work to turn it in. That's to avoid any similarity and plagiarism issues. So just want to make sure this is clear. You have a quiz next week. It covers, week 1 lecture. It covers the YouTube. It covers tutorial only. There are 10 questions you need to go and do, and they are going to be, some true and false, some term selection, multiple choice answers, and so on. You'll need to go and make sure you do that, and it's 20 minutes to do that quiz, so please bear that in mind. I think there's plenty of time for you to be able to go and do the quiz and do it well. So don't panic, there's plenty of time for it. If you study the materials that we've covered in a lecture and a tutorial, as well as the YouTubes that you need to go and know, I think you will be able to go and do well. Any questions about your quiz?
So the material will be from this week one?
Only week 1.
Okay, cool.
It'll be next week in your tutorial. Any other questions?
Okay, so you will start exactly at the 7 or what quiz next week?
My friend, it all depends on how the subject coordinator schedules it as part of the program. It could be at the beginning, it might not be at the beginning. So I can't really tell you, it depends of how it gets organized in the materials.
Yeah, if something happens wrong, something goes wrong like pre-planned, then how can we just like give that again? We need to message the coordinator or what?
When if you say if something goes wrong, what do you mean?
Yeah, if something goes wrong, like I can't attend the next week tutorial and I couldn't attend the quiz, then I need to message the lecture. I need to message you, or I need to
Well,
message the coordinator.
if you can't attend the tutorial to be
Yeah.
able to complete the work, first of all, I would say it's very important that you regularly
Yeah,
attend the class, because if you
Yeah.
don't attend, you can't apply what I'm teaching you and you can't learn what I'm teaching you, and that will make doing your assignments harder. That's the first thing I'm going to say. Second thing I'm going to say, if you cannot come to your class on Thursday, then my advice to you would be to go and attend any other tutorial that is available, and then try to sit that quiz at that particular time when it's been run in another tutorial.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, sir.
No problem, my friend. Any other questions?
Just out of curiosity, for the quiz,
Yep.
are we able to retake it, or like once you take it, that's it, you get the grade
once.
that you get?
It's once.
Okay, cool.
And I would say students who attend my class are usually, they usually achieve over 4 as an average on that quiz. Okay, they know their stuff and they usually achieve a good mark. Anybody else? Any other questions?
Hi, sir.
Yes, my friend, tell me.
I have a personal question. So can you take me to a breakout room?
No problem. Give me 1 second. I'll pause the recording.
We need to submit the every tutorial, yeah, from next week or what? Every tutorial we
Well,
need to submit.
from next week, we'll start discussing your assignment. And then from the week after, you start submitting your tutorial work on a weekly basis.
Okay, so today we don't have like any tasks, yeah, to submit.
Not for next week, no.
Just a discussion, yeah.
And for next week, you have the quiz. That's it.
Yeah, all right, thank you, sir.
No worries. Any other questions, guys? No worries. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open the lecture slides for a second, because in the lecture slides, the coordinator mentioned a video that would add value. So I'm going to go to that video as a beginning. And okay, so in the class, the coordinator in a lecture, he mentioned a number of things that we could do. He mentioned this YouTube link. So
you would know there are two
this is a
approaches to
comparison. So that comparison we
Together.
are going to be doing a bit later. He also mentioned 2 more. He mentioned this.
But one thing I'm telling other managers right now is to try Monday.com. Monday.com is a platform.
In this video, I want to answer the question, what is the PIN-BOK?
Okay, so again, this is one that we are going to be covering in the tutorial. I just want to double check to see whether any of these are ones that won't be covering, so that I can actually play it for you guys now.
You would know there are two approaches.
So he's talking about all of these stuff we are going to be covering anyway now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the tutorial now and open the file. All right. So now, guys, that we finished doing that task, I'm going to now go to the couple of things that couple of videos that are actually relevant for today, and we need to go through them. So I'm going to go through the first one now, which is basically talks about what is project management body of knowledge. So I'm going to give you that. It takes about 4 minutes, and then we'll go to the next item. Nora Sipa, please speak to me towards the end of the session, and I'll be very happy to organize that for you. No problem at all. So let's just play with this video now. Thank you very much, guys.
In this video, I want to answer the question, what is the PMBOK? The PMI's project management body of knowledge. The PMBOK is a behemoth. It's over 750 pages of foundational standards. I'm going to put it down. 750 pages. And this is not really a learning resource. I know a lot of people use it as part of their learning for the CAPM and PMP qualifications. But fundamentally, this is a document that sets out the PMI standard for what a project manager needs to know. But it's not only a standard for competence, a good practice guide for project managers, it's also part of the PMI's accreditation by the American National Standards Institute. The second part of the PMBOK is accredited, and it therefore creates part of a national standard for project management. And therefore, because of that, it's subject to the ANSI requirements that it's revised regularly. Consequently, the PMBOK is updated every 4 or 5 years, and we're now on the 6th edition, which was released in September 2017. And the PMBOK has grown. Here's my first edition. Dated 1996, it has just 176 pages. Some would say it's a rather better document for it. But that growth has added enormously to the wealth of good practice that you'll find in the PMBOK. In its present 6th edition, the PMBOK describes 10 knowledge areas, and it divides its processes up into 5 process groups spread across 49 processes. And each process has its own set of inputs, tools and techniques and outputs, the PMI's ICT204s. It's a huge amount of information. And not only that, but the 6th edition now adds in, for the first time, direct reference to the agile project management and the principles around it. And you can buy your PMBOK with this 165-page agile practice guide developed between the PMI and the Agile Alliance. 165 pages, pretty much the same as my first edition PMBOK. So perhaps in another 20 years, this too will be 750 pages long. So the PMBOK is an essential reference document. It is not a learning document. It is not something to read through from cover to cover. I know a lot of aspiring PMP and CAPM candidates do that, but it is a source of good practice. But fundamentally, it's the PMI standard of competence for project managers. And let's be honest, if you aspire to manage serious, significant projects as your career, you have to know an awful lot. And this is the starting place. It's not the end, it's not everything, but it is the basic level of competence. And because of that, the PMI is able to say with confidence that its qualified project managers, its PMPs, its project management professionals are able to deliver projects more successfully. And organizations that use project management professionals to lead their projects spend their money more wisely and get better results. And all of that tracks back to the foundational standard in the PMBOK.
So guys, the first thing that is important that we need to go and know about, it really relates to what I said earlier about the project management body of knowledge. It is foundational for us to be able to go and really implement the traditional project management appropriately. It is about the knowledge areas. It's about the 5 process groups. This is the foundational slide that I showed you, and I told you need to go and remember all of these process groups. Now, at this point of time now, you might not know anything about it, but as we start coming next week, we start giving you documents to go and read. We start giving you examples to go and look at. It will start building your knowledge about what you are expected to go and do, which will help you to go and get the job that is expected. So make sure you keep on coming, and remember that the project management body of knowledge is 50% of that subject, and then the agile is the other 50%. We spoke about both of them here, and they will be very, very relevant when we're going to start talking about the assignments that you are going to be doing for both assignment 2 and assignment 3. So please make sure you keep on coming every week. Do not miss weeks, so that we can teach you something, you can apply it, and then you'll be able to go and really get the marks that we will be assigning for you on a weekly basis if the work meets the quality that we are expecting. The second video I want to go and tell you now is really more a comparison between the traditional and agile project management, something that is very relevant, something that we might be asking you even in the final exam. So it's very important you know that comparison. It's also, I think, relevant for some of your assignment questions. So let's start by giving you a quick overview of this traditional versus agile project management.
You would know there are 2 approaches to projects: traditional and agile. Let us understand what these approaches are and how do they differ. While traditional project management focuses on plans and facts, agile's focuses on value and customer satisfaction. Traditional project management responds to change through change control process. Agile, on the other hand, manages changes through adaptive actions. While traditional method relies on upfront planning, agile methodology follows progressive elaboration through release, wave and iteration planning. A top-down control structure defines traditional methodology. In agile methodology, there are self-organizing and cross-functional teams. Traditional methodology has a scope-based delivery, unlike a time-box delivery followed by agile. While traditional method is contract-oriented, agile is customer-oriented from the start to the end. Traditional project management works where the project can be completed in one flow, and the success is defined by giving deliverables on time and below budget. Agile project management is better suited for unpredictable projects, such as software development, where there are many risks, the scope of the project is likely to change, and where risk mitigation and constant adaptation to the changing needs is required. Waterfall or traditional methodology requires a perfect vision. It follows a predictive life cycle. It is a fully plan-driven approach, where the 3 main project constraints, time, scope, and cost, are all determined at a detailed level at the start of the project. You need to know your requirements going in, and the scope is fixed at the onset. Each phase is then laid out sequentially and managed carefully. In this illustration, as you can see, a fully formed idea has been thought of upfront. You would notice in steps 1 to 5, doing it on time requires dead accurate estimation throughout the project life cycle. Agile methodology, on the other hand, expects vision shift. An adaptive team will have difficulty describing exactly what will happen in the future. The further away a date is, the more vague an adaptive method will be about what will happen on that date. Like in this illustration, the guy builds a rough version, validates it, and then slowly builds up the quality, one step at a time. A more iterative approach allows you to move from vague idea to realization, making course corrections as you go, and stop when diminishing returns are encountered.
So guys, in very, very summary here, in terms of the difference between agile and traditional project management, I will be talking a bit more further about it, but if I was to go and think about it, it is really about an approach that allows for flexibility, versus an approach that basically limits changes and limits the involvement of customers. This is really the main two differences we are talking about when it comes between agile and between the traditional project management. But it is more about iteration. It's more about, trying to realize that vague idea and keep on adjusting things according to what my client is going to go and tell me is going to be needed at any particular point of time. Now, I'm going to start talking more about all of these questions that are relevant. We will be answering the 5 questions. What is project management? What is Pinbook? What is agile project management methodology? What is waterfall approach? And the difference between Pinbook and agile. Now, I want to remind you that it is more about engagement. It's all about ensuring that you guys are able to share with me your knowledge and skills and build on your understanding and add new knowledge. It's about your involvement that makes the tutorials as enjoyable, as good as they should be. So I want to make sure that you know that your engagement is very much appreciated and very much required. And I want you to know that responses will vary, and we will be discussing suggested answers. Before, if you are listening to this recording, my advice to you is do not simply go and listen to the recording. I want you to go and try to answer those questions first before you are going to go and be basically checking the responses and whatever your colleagues have went and have said. The first question is, what is project management? So I'm going to ask you guys, what is project management? What do you think? Kevin, what do you think, mate?
It is for this one, project planning.
Okay, so you're talking about planning, okay? So project management is about planning.
Breaking down the big
Yeah,
parts.
to help communicate and detail information to describe the process that the project will undertake.
Okay, so it's about planning and describing the process that the project will undertake to be able to deliver a particular outcome.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else? Who can add?
Within a certain duration of time.
Okay, things need to be delivered within particular time. Yeah, correct. Schedule. What else?
To achieve a common goal.
What's that? Sorry?
To achieve a common goal.
To achieve a common goal. What is that goal? Who sets that goal?
Company.
Company.
Company? By speaking to who?
Clients.
Shareholder, something.
It could be shareholder, it could be
Executive
client,
customers.
inside the business, it could be the customer. In other words, they have a need, they have something they would like to go and deliver. So they will go and speak to the relevant people to be able to go and ensure we are going to implement whatever is going to be required. Okay, that's fine. What else do we know? What else can we add?
Breaking down the project.
Breaking down the project. What do you mean by this?
And assigning
Right.
different tasks to different members.
What's that? Sorry, my friend.
Assigning different tasks to different members.
Assigning different parts to different members. And you spoke about stages. So when you talk about stages, we spoke, for example, initiation stage to understand what needs to go and be delivered. Then we're going to go and plan to deliver something. Then we're going to then go and implement that plan. Then we're going to go and monitor and control things. And then eventually we're going to go and have to close the
And
project.
fix budget.
It is application
budget.
of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques
Yes,
to
skills.
protect to
Okay, all right.
project activities to meet the project requirement.
Yeah, so there are tools and techniques we need to go and apply and use to be able to get the project requirements to be delivered. I agree with that, guys. All very relevant answers. Anybody want to add something?
To mitigate risk management.
Mitigate risks to be able
Yeah.
to achieve your outcomes. Okay, yeah, that's relevant. What about the knowledge areas?
Sorry?
What about the knowledge areas? Are they relevant
Yeah,
for
we
project
can share
management?
the knowledge as well between.
So we need, so the knowledge areas, are they relevant? What knowledge areas am I talking about?
Teamwork,
No, there are 10 knowledge areas we spoke about today. What are they?
Scope management, schedule management,
Schedule management.
cost,
Budget.
quality.
budget.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All of these, do they play any role in project management?
Of course.
Yes, they do.
100%. So the first thing that needs to happen before we start the project is what?
Planning,
Yeah,
We need
before
to
that,
identify requirements.
yeah,
initiating.
define requirements. So the first thing before we define the requirements,
We
What
have to
happens?
establish clear and achievable objectives.
or someone would usually come and speak to you and say, I have this problem, or I have the vision, or I want something.
Initiate.
And then from there, you start saying, oh, okay, so let's go and try to start implementing and using the knowledge areas. You start saying, all right, let me go and think about, scope management, schedule management, cost management, and so on. And you start saying, all right, I know I'm going to go and need to create a schedule. How am I going to do it? I'm going to use a tool. All right, let me use a project management tool. Okay, what technique am I going to be using? I'm going to use the critical chain technique of estimation. Oh, great. And then you're going to go and start working to delivering the project. And from there, we get to the stage where we can get the project delivered successfully. And then one successful project delivery basically contribute to the success of the organization, because that one project is part of a large number of work that we need to go and do in an organization. So it actually contributes for me getting the outcomes I need to go and really get. So it's about really speaking to the right people, understanding what they want, applying the 10 knowledge areas, using the tools and techniques to deliver a project successfully. And when numerous projects in a portfolio gets delivered successfully, this is how we can go and achieve the organizational success. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. So what is Pinbook? What is Pinbook?
It's a standard guideline for project management.
It's guidelines for project management, how we need to go and deliver the project. Yes, but PMBOK, what does that stand for?
Project
Project
management
management body of knowledge.
Project management body of knowledge. Does project management body of knowledge delivers any sort of certification?
Yes.
Yes, I think the PMI.
No, the PM.
PMI.
PM.
E.
Project management.
PMP.
PMP, project management professional. So you basically become a project management professional. And why should you become a project management professional?
To deliver project.
What else? You could deliver projects without without becoming PMP.
Within a professional range.
Because people start recognizing you that you are a professional in that field. You start learning from other professionals in the field. If you are, let's say, delivering IT or information system projects, you can learn from other people who are delivering other information system projects. You'll basically learn from there. You build your skills, you build your knowledge, and that's basically something that goes and helps add a lot of value. So you basically build skills. You don't simply build the skills and the knowledge and further your knowledge into how you should deliver projects, but you also could learn more by getting other sort of accreditations, such as the Agile accreditation, which is a totally different approach to delivering projects that we will also be teaching you about throughout the session. But it's very important to know about both of them. They are equally important. It's basically in 1996, the first edition of PIM book was published. It outlined the knowledge areas, the processes, and the practices. It's basically recognized as good practices. It is not actually in the 3rd edition anymore. It's actually now in the 6th edition. There's been so many editions done between when it started and now. So there are so many editions. Project managers, basically go and use it as a guide of how projects should be delivered. This particular slide is very important. This particular slide talks about the 10 knowledge areas and talk about the process groups. What I want you to go and bear in mind that a lot of times you might be asked a question about this. You might, for example, be asked in the initiation stage, what sort of knowledge areas we need to go and work on. You say, oh, we need to work on project integration, developing a charter and explain that further. We need to go and have a project stakeholder management, and you talk about identifying stakeholders and what else basically goes and happen accordingly. You need to think about all of these things. You could be asked about any knowledge area, any process groups, because this is really 50% of your subject. If you come every week, we'll start explaining these for you. The 49 processes are all of these processes. All of these you find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are the 49 processes that we'll need to go and learn about in terms of project management. So make sure you attend and make sure you learn about all of these particular processes. What is a project management methodology? Agile project management methodology.
It's a methodology that you use to develop as well as getting feedback on and on.
So you develop as well as get feedback. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who else want to add anything? I taught you earlier in the lecture, and I gave you the example of 6 interrelated rooms that I want to deliver to a client. Do you remember that example?
Yes.
Okay. In traditional project management, how do I deliver these 6 interrelated rooms?
The normal methodology, they'll just build up and finish all 6 interlock room simultaneously and submit it together and then done with the project.
Correct. So I get the requirements from the beginning.
Yeah.
I understand what they are. And then I say, see you later, Mr. Customer. We'll talk later. And then you're going to work through all of these things yourself. And then after you finish it, let's say 12 months, you go to the customer and say, I've done it for you. That's now available. Thank you very much, Mr. Customer. See you later. It's all done. That's what you would do. What about in agile project management?
You will build the room one by one.
So I speak to the customer. I build the first room. I give it to the customer. What does the customer tell me?
Feedbacks.
They give me feedback. Then I take that feedback and I continue working. What do I then give them?
Better version of the room.
Yeah. And what else I give him?
Design.
I give him room 2. I already gave him room 1. Then I give him room 2. Then they come and they give me feedback again. What do I give them after?
An even more improved room, the third
More
one.
improved, and then room 3, and then room 4, and then
And so
room
on.
5. So you see, we're getting better quality. We're getting iteration. We're getting involvement from the customer throughout the delivery. Does that make sense?
Excuse me, sir. Yeah.
Tell me.
What's actually the agile means? What's the agile means?
What does agile mean?
Yeah.
The word
What's
agile
yeah.
means flexible. Mean just don't be fixed. Keep on changing.
I think we
If
did
something's
this in
changing around you,
system
keep on
and
changing with
now.
it. That's
Yeah,
what
like changing. Yeah, I got that. Yeah, all right. Thank you.
no worries. Anyone else? All right, so guys, if you look at the traditional one, you finish, you do the next one, you finish this next. If we collect the requirement here, I give them the 6 rooms here. Here, no, I have all the stages. I give them 2 rooms. All the stages, another 2 rooms. All the stages, another 2 rooms. So at any point of time, I'm giving them something that is working very early in the project instead of giving them something that work very, very late in the project. And that's really a shift into the mentality of how we need to go and work to get the job to be completed. What do these 2 pictures try to tell you? What are they telling you here?
The waterfall.
One is showing nature.
So the one on the left,
And
what is it
sequence
showing you?
Water, probably.
So what does that mean?
Nature.
What does that mean?
from top to bottom,
Okay, what about this?
sequence,
So what is this
One
compared?
by one, or something like that.
Every one of these things you need to jump on, obstacles, are they the same? Look at the distance. Is the distance the same?
Yeah.
Is
they
the
look
jumping the
same.
same?
yeah,
So what is this? What do you see here?
Breaking down of a big work or something.
Constant
Breaking
obstacle.
up, and you do repeat, like you see here. Repeat, repeat, repeat,
Yeah.
repeat, repeat. You see how it's been repeated? It's exactly the same size and it's been repeated. What about here? Is this being repeated?
no,
So what is it showing you? What is it trying to show you?
Continuously flows.
Continuous flow. So it's trying to show you the traditional project management versus the agile sprints project management. Repeat, 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 same sizes, and you're repeating the work. Does that make sense?
So like in a waterfall, yeah. In
Waterfall, it goes from the beginning all the way to the end and it goes. It's finished.
So we can come back, come back to make the changes on the waterfall
No.
method.
It's done.
Yeah.
Here, what are you doing? You keep on repeating.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, makes sense, sir.
Any questions?
No, so
yeah,
No questions? No questions?
I'm
All
good.
clear, all clear, sir, all clear.
Alrighty, so that's a waterfall, guys. You know, one after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other, all the way to get it down. We deploy it, we release it, and then we're going to have to go and maintain any system we're going to be delivering to the client. Needs to have regular maintenance done in the future. Can you give me some differences between Agile and Pinbook? From what we've discussed so far, can you tell me about any differences?
Pinbook is the standard guideline that follows the waterfall methodology, whereas the agile is using the agile methodology.
Yeah, which is more kind of repetitive. That's fine. What else?
Yeah.
What else can you guys tell me? What can you tell me about customer involvement?
Probably for Pinbook, the customer involvement only happened once, twice, or thrice during the feedback, which does not occur a lot, whereas Agile, it keeps happening
Yeah.
repeatedly.
Yeah, correct. So there's early involvement in the Pinbook versus regular involvement in the Agile, correct? What about change? What can you tell me about change?
For Pinbook,
In Agile, we can change according to the requirements.
In Agile, we can change
any
according to
time.
the requirement, and in traditional,
Traditional, we cannot change once it is done.
yeah, tends to be harder to go and change. So you see, guys, Pinbook guides you of what should be done to manage a project. Agile tells you how do you want to go and do it. They disagree with each other in terms of the involvement of stakeholders. In Agile, there is an expectation that we will have to actively involve the customer, but in Agile, in traditional, it's different. You don't involve them very often. In Agile, it sets a direction for the product, by the customer from the beginning, and it keeps on refining the vision up until we go and ensure we are meeting the needs of the customer at any point of time. It takes a view that stakeholder influence occurs up front in the Pinbook, then decline throughout the project. In Agile, stakeholder influence remains very strong, does not decrease until the product is actually released and the project is actually over. Pinbook doesn't encourage and doesn't invite change. Agile welcomes change and keep on inviting them and keeps on making all of these iterations all the way for the future. So some things to really go and really bear in mind, guys, in terms of the differences between Agile and between Pinbook. Do you guys have any questions at all?
So all clear.
Any other questions that we're going to discuss outside the tutorial? We can do it, but about the tutorial, any questions at all?
All clear, sir.
All right, guys, for those of you who are listening to the recording, I encourage you very much to come to your tutorial next week and prepare beforehand to go and do your quiz, which is about what we covered in week 1. And I also want you to make sure you come for next week, because we're going to go and have to assign you to a group, and we have to go and make sure you're going to start working on your group assignment and start submitting the tasks that are due starting week 4. So it's very, very important to go and remember that. We very much care about you and would like you to go and succeed as a team in ICT204. And on behalf of the team, we look forward to working with everybody and to supporting you to go and achieve success. Thank you very much and have a great day. Thank you.